yourself. Jason Merritt. All right, can everybody hear me? Yeah. Back there? Good. All right. Well, first of all, my most humble thanks and sincere gratitude for every person that's here. It means a lot to me. And I never thought that I'd be here doing this. But I also never thought that we'd be losing our country. Never in a million years did I think that was going to be something that was going to happen, but it is happening. And we've got to do something about it. We had men 245 some odd years ago that got together and said enough's enough. We're not going to be pushed around anymore. And they drafted up a document, and it was called the Constitution, and it was really meant as a letter to the king, a tyrant, and it was at first an ask. Please leave us alone, let us live. And they knew that they were going to be turned down, but they said, let's ask first and do it the right way instead of just shooting the British. And when they got that no, they said, let's have at it. But what led up to that was 20 years of calls to action. A lot of you have seen what's on my left forearm, and it's the join or die woodcut. That was done in 1754 by Ben Franklin. And it's just this segmented state. There's 8 segments which represented the 13 colonies. If you're wondering why there's 8 segments, it's because New England plus there were 2 states that share the same governor. Now I'll let you do your homework on that because I like for people to learn. But if you don't believe that I know, you can quiz me on it. But it's important to find this stuff out. But it took 22 years for the colonies to get their acts together and unite as one and form this front and say to the British, no more. We're not going to live under your thumb. You're not going to tax us to death. We're getting nothing out of this deal but abuse. So they finally got together, and the one thing that they had that won that war was faith. And I reference this all the time. The first flag they ever flew was a white sheet that had a pine tree on it, and it said, appeal to heaven. And that's what they did. These were farmers with pitchforks fighting against the most powerful military the world had ever seen. The British Empire used to be basically the entire globe. What is it now? It's a little speck. It's like 0.2% of the Earth's surface now. And they were tyrants, and we won. And Ben Franklin once said, after being asked, these are VIPs. So we've got some terrible things going on, as we all know. The schools want to divide our children and teach them critical race theory. They want to take them to 5-year-olds to gay bars. I have nothing wrong, no problem with gay people. I have a problem with the schools taking children to gay bars. There's something wrong with them taking them to a regular bar. Okay? There's no place for it. Yet, if you remember back a few years, there was this big to-do about the Pledge of Allegiance. You can't say the Pledge of Allegiance in school. Remember that?
Yeah.
Because it said God. But there was no mention of Christian God or Jewish God or Muslim God or any God in particular. It was just God. But they equated it to a Christian God, and they blamed it on the Christians because we can't have that, and there's got to be equality. But it was really just God. And they recognized that people of faith are people of power. I say this all the time. That's why the colonists won the Revolutionary War. They had faith, appealed to heaven. So if they strip us of our faith, they strip us of our ability to fight back. That's why the First Amendment comes first, and it's backed up by the Second Amendment. So there was a method to why they did the things that they did, our founding fathers. They really knew what they were doing. They saw into the future. And they saw this day coming to pass. And this is the government they warned us about. I say it over and over again. So when I say I never expected to be here, as I watched this country deteriorate, and it started to happen quickly, I planned on running a regular election, and I kept saying I'm not real excited to wait that long. So this special election came up, and everybody said it's too hard, don't try. And I said, well, wait a second, what country is this again? America, right? Too hard, don't try. Since when does that apply to Americans?
Yeah.
Who can hear? So now they want to do a couple things, and they're doing a good job at it. They want to steal your faith. Who believes in God?
Great opposite of the universe.
Okay. And if you don't believe in God, do you have some sort of faith? Yeah. Okay. All right. So if we all have faith and we all have God, we've got that on our side. We can't lose that. Now they want to do things like dilute the vote, change the population, change the vote. They did that in California, and it was very effective. California was the state that elected Reagan in 1982. Okay, they changed the population in California, and now look at it. It's a radical left cesspool. Literally. They do it all over the country. Now they're doing it across the entire United States. We've got an unprecedented amount of illegal aliens, something we're not supposed to say, but we have the First Amendment, remember that, coming into this country uninvited. And I'm all for immigration. That's what this country is built upon. We wouldn't have it if it weren't for immigration. But when you come in here illegally, you're coming in on the wrong foot. Okay? Do things the right way. It's like going to a roller coaster at Disney World and some idiot goes to the front of the line, but you've been standing there for 2 hours. Who appreciates that? Not me. So what's going to happen here in District 20 if we allow Sheila McCormick to be elected is all of our jobs will go away. Because 70% obtained by Customs and Border Patrol say they're headed to Florida. Why might that be? Well, there's a lot of agricultural jobs to be had here. She also wants to raise the minimum wage to $20 an hour. She also wants to give $1,000 a month to every single American. Now, personally, I think that should be illegal. That sounds to me like vote for me and I'll pay you. And that's just about everybody in the United States, in case you didn't know, and it amounts to $1 trillion a year. We can't afford it. This country takes in $4 trillion a year. Okay. You want to add another trillion to that? No, we can't afford it. We already can't afford what's going on. We can't. Their kids are going to be paying for the mess that this administration is causing. So we've got to stop it. Now, when you look at the primary results and you see the alleged low voter turnout, I'm here to tell you that I can with a fair degree of certainty tell you that it was a lot higher than was actually reported. Because on the 2nd, I got call after call after call after call. We're trying to vote for you, and they're telling us that we can't. This is a Democrat-only polling station. We've got it on video. If you've been to my Facebook page, you can see it. It's only a few posts down. Finally, a news outlet picked it up. So they're trying to take our faith in the system away. They're trying to take our faith in God away. They're also dismantling the military and police. You know, when they say defund the police, you got to really think about what they're saying. They're not really saying take away the police. They want to federalize the police.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
They did that in Europe in the 1930s, and they wore brown shirts. And if you think I'm overstating the matter, yes, again. You know what else they did? They said, well, we want to take your guns away because they're very dangerous and there's a lot of hunting accidents. So we want to save lives. And I told the reporter when they asked me about the Second Amendment, I quoted Thomas Jefferson, and he once said, the beautiful thing about the Second Amendment is you need it when they try to take it away. And I said, are you really asking me about the Second Amendment because you want people to not die? Because if that's the case, let's talk about hammers. And she said, excuse, I'm sorry, what? Hammers, what? 700 times the rate of murders occur via hammer than guns. So they're not really talking about your safety. They're talking about taking your ability to fight back if you need to away. Your ability to protect your family, your children, away from you. We can't let that happen. We can't let them win this election. We can't become despondent and stay home and say our votes don't count because they cheat. Yeah, they cheat. Of course they cheat. But they can't cheat enough if we all get out there and vote. We all have to get out there and vote. Everyone has to tell everyone that they know to vote. And I'll tell you what, you can vote and then you can die and then you can vote again. It happens all the time on the left. And we have to start acknowledging the disgusting hypocrisy with the left. If I had a D next to my name, I think a lot of people in here probably know my background, right? I've gotten into some trouble. I've beat a few things like substances in my life. You know, this was a long time ago. I've gone through a thing called the D word. I'm trying to moderate what I say. Divorce, drugs, incarceration. That was 10 years ago or so. 12 years ago. If I had a D next to my name, they would be crying, saying, look at this guy, we're so proud of him, and I'd be the crown prince of the Democratic Party. But another important thing to remember is I hear a lot of people say it's Democrats that are doing this. And we can't let that happen. And here's why. And our founding fathers knew this, and a lot of great leaders afterwards knew this as well. John Adams represented the British who shot the colonists during the bloody Boston Massacre. He did it at the expense of alienating himself from the people he needed support from, the colonists. And his reasoning for that was, well, if we're going to do liberty and justice, it needs to be liberty and justice for all. Because no matter how this thing turns out, we're going to have to live with them when all is said and done.
Right.
After the Civil War, when General Grant took the sword and the ceremonial surrender from Robert E. Lee, he didn't lock them up. He didn't punish them. He gave them land. He gave them donkeys. And he said, go rebuild your lives. You're our countrymen now. That's what he did. And there was a lot of wisdom in that. Because if we say it's the Democrats doing this, all we're going to do is create more and more division. So we have to look back to history Because it's all written down for us. John Adams did it. General Grant did it. It's called extending an olive branch. That's what we need to do. And we also need to take accountability. Because let's face it, this country's in the position it's in, not because of the Democrats. It's partially our fault, and it's partially their fault. Radicalized elements of both parties have screwed everything up for the rest of us. There has to be some strategy involved in winning this, in regaining this country. Because if we become a one-party system, I'll tell you this right now, this country is done for. And if we become a one-party system of Republicans, we'll just die faster because there's more guns. This country forever has to remain a one-party system. Hey, Joe.
What's that? Oh, sorry.
Didn't know.
This guy blocks this son of a-
Yeah. No, it's different right here.
So don't hate your neighbor because they have a difference of belief. The division has to end. You know, I suggested this once. I said, are we at the point of secession? Is that something that needs to be on the table? Because I wonder sometimes, is that gap, is that divide so deep that we can't build a bridge and reach across the aisle and work with one another again? I don't think so. Because I have faith. I don't think God is done with America. And I don't think we are either. Otherwise, we would not be here. So if every single person in this room tells every single person that they know to do things like volunteer, donate, show up, and vote. Vote. You saw what happened with the last election. Yes, they cheated. Yes, I will stand by that. Yes, I will continue to say that Joe Biden did not receive more votes than Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, I told a reporter that, and he said, well, he didn't run against him. And I said, yeah, I know, catch up. So while they want to talk about my speeding tickets and 10 years ago, let them have at it. Because I think it's important what we do here and what we do now. Because that's what's going to determine tomorrow. And we don't have any time to waste. This is a very, very short race. And I'll tell you this too. I will go nowhere. Nowhere. Until I get to where I need to be. And this country is secure again. And I call on everyone in here to start thinking about what more you can do for this country. When I entered this race, I did so 3 days before the qualification cutoff. And they said it was impossible. I would never be able to do it. They also said it was impossible for me to win the primary. So they've been wrong a lot.
Yeah.
They told me I'd never beat addiction. I did. They told me I'd never do a lot of things in life. In fact, I was born premature. There's a very, very small likelihood that I was supposed to live back in the 80s. But I did. So I like beating bad odds. So when they say too hard, don't try, tell them to go after themselves. Because this is America. Nothing is too hard, don't try. Nothing is not worth doing. This country is absolutely worth saving. And if you think for 1 second there's anywhere else to go, guess again. You can try Australia. That used to be the fallback plan. Australia. Look at them now. one other thing that I'll say. The pillars of communism are fear and control. Their lever of fear and control is the Kung Flu. You can use that. Or the Wu Flu. Because there will always be a new variant. As soon as the appeal of the previous variant wears off, there will be a new one. And one of the Federalist Papers I encourage everyone to read is the 46th, written by Monroe. When things get like this, do not comply. No! I won't comply. I catch them teaching them CRT, they're out. They're out of school. Okay? You're not going to come to my door and tell me to put a needle in my arm. Nope. Not going to happen. No. There's a lot of things that you will not tell me to do. The Constitution still stands. Every single bit of it.
Yes.
That will forever remain the law of the land here in America. Now, if everybody could do something right now, does everybody have a phone in here?
Yes.
Who has Facebook? Don't be ashamed. I have Facebook. Don't be ashamed. I know it's the other side's instrument of destruction, but there's nothing better than using their own weapons against them. Kind of like Al Qaeda's going to do with our trillions of dollars of weapons, or billion, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. A dollar, billion, 80 billion, 85 billion, yeah, $85 billion. But we can't have guns. Imagine that. They can. We can't. Double standard. You're in trouble. Uh-oh. There's supposed to be those 13 photos.
They're in the back.
Oh, you're not in trouble.
Actually, you can thank you.
The American memory can't be a 4-day news cycle. We got to remember those 13 servicemen and women that Joe Biden killed.
Yeah.
We've got to remember that China sent this virus over here intentionally.
That's right.
And if they didn't do it intentionally, they hid it from us long enough for it to kill Americans. They need to be held accountable for that. Buy it here, build it here, make it here. I do everything I can not to buy anything that says made in China. Everything. Even if it means paying 4 times the cost. So let's save it while we have the chance. Don't forget what this administration is doing to this country. It's divided beyond belief. They're destroying our children. They're destroying us. They're destroying the police and the military. Enough is enough. Take their weapon, use it against them. Go on Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg does not like me. Post. Visit Mariner for Congress. It's easy to find. Share it. Invite all of your friends to like it. They don't want that to happen. Hit the donate button. Visit marinerforcongress.com. Tell every single person that you know that they've got a dog in this fight. Now, we've got a very good advantage. While these socialists are duking it out in court, everyone else thinks that the election is over. Let them think that. Don't tell them the secret that it's not. Okay? Because while they're fighting amongst one another, working my rear end off to win this election. And I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for your kids. I'm doing it for your grandkids. And I'm doing it for us. Because at this rate, I think the oldest person in here is going to see the consequences of what's going on if it continues at this rate. So get out there and vote. Put signs on your car. We've got big red perforated vinyl decals. You can put it on the back windshield of your car and everybody will see it. Put signs in your yards. Put signs on the streets. Do what you can to contribute, please. Because again, it's not for me. This is for you, your children, their children, and the next 2 generations. We will not lose this country. And like I've said before, it will either be Congressman, General, or here lies Jason Mariner, because I will not go down without a fight. And I hope that while you can. Pray, pray, pray. Don't lose your faith. Get out the vote. Get out the vote. That's the most important thing that we can do. Because if we do that, there's no amount of cheating that they can do to overcome us. We are more powerful than them. So it's time we have our squad in Congress.
That's right.
Thank you all for being here. God bless each and every one of you and your families. I know it takes time to volunteer. I recognize that. I thank your families that are not here for allowing us to borrow you for this campaign. For everyone who's donated, whether it be money, time, talent, thank you. Never in a million years did I think I'd have 5 people that saw fit to vote for me. But here we are. And we will not stop until we have America back the way it used to be. Until we recognize this country again. Love your families, love God, love this country, and thank you all.
Amen.
By the way, Jordan. Thank you.
No, it's time to eat. It's time to eat.
Let's eat. Alright, so folks, food will be showing up here shortly.
It's there.
What's there? Food is here. Have fun. Enjoy. Alright.
gotta eat. You gotta eat. There's a ton of food. You gotta eat.